Hey, you guys. Hope everybody's doing well. It is January 21st, 2025. And today I am going to look over the preliminary interview of Jarvis Butts' fiance.
Give the court reporter your name right here, and then I'll swear you in. Raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Yes.
This right here is Tashiana Davis. Now, this entire interview is on YouTube if you would just like to see it in its entirety without me talking. But I'm just going to do some slight commentary on it. And, there's a lot of senseless points that be in a lot of these interviews. So I just want to get to it, get past it, get through it. And here we go.
Ms. Davis, I want to ask you about someone by the name of Jarvis Butts. Do you know that person?
Yes.
And how do you know Mr. Butts?
He was my fiance.
And do you see Mr. Butts in the courtroom today?
Yes.
Could you point to him and identify a piece of clothing that he's wearing?
She's right there with a green top on.
For the record, the witness has identified the defendant, Jarvis Butts, in this matter.
So reflective.
Thank you. And how long, you said he was your fiance.
Yes.
How long in total have you known Mr. Butts?
4 years.
And
2019.
2019?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
And when did you become engaged?
2023.
And can you tell us a little bit about the nature of that relationship? Do you have any children with him? Things like that.
No children.
It was established right here that her and Jarvis did not live together. However, he stayed at her house a lot. That is what she said. Now remember, Tashiana, she is one of Jarvis's many, many female acquaintances. I'm going to call them acquaintances, because that's what they were. Besides the underage ones that he was essaying, she is one of the many older ones, the adult ones.
I want to take your attention back to January of 2024 and February of 2024. Did there come a time when Jarvis Butts asked you to drive him to court?
Yes.
And when was that?
February 7th.
Of 24?
Yes.
And was there a time before that you had to drive him to court?
Yes.
And when was that?
January, I think it was the 9th.
Okay. What was the reason he wasn't driving himself? Why were you driving him?
Because he thought he was going to have to turn himself in then for another case, and then they rescheduled it.
Okay, so on the 9th, he was supposed to turn himself in, but didn't actually end up doing that?
Correct.
Okay. And then on the 7th, did he ask you to drive him to court again?
Yes.
And what was the reason that you drove him to court on the 7th?
Because he was supposed to turn himself in.
And did he end up turning himself in on the 7th?
Yes.
Okay. When you were driving him on the 7th of February 2024, first, what kind of car do you drive?
2005 Suburban.
And what color is it?
Tan.
And when you were driving him to court, who else was with you, if anyone?
Nobody.
Just you and Mr. Butts?
Yes.
Now, I don't know if it was intentionally or if he just forgot, but he left his cell phone at her house, and she had driven him to, I guess, whatever jailhouse so he can turn himself in.
And so you drove back home, correct?
Yes.
Did you eventually have some contact with the police department?
Yes.
And where were you when you had that contact?
In the hospital.
And what did they ask you about generally?
Did I know anything about a missing child?
And do you know anything about missing child?
No.
Did they ask you about his cell phone?
Yeah, I believe so.
And did you know or have any reason to believe, other than what Jarvis told you, that his phone was someplace else?
No.
And did you know that his phone was in your car?
No.
Did you give permission to the police to search your car?
No, they just came and took it.
They had a search warrant?
Yeah.
Okay. And were you present at your house when they came and took your car?
No.
And did you observe them search through your car and pull anything out?
No.
Okay. May I have one moment, Judge?
Yes.
And you said you knew Jarvis Butts for 4 years?
Yes.
And would you communicate with him via cell phone?
Yes.
And do you know the last 4 digits of his phone number, if you remember? If you don't remember,
I don't remember.
okay. With looking at text messages, refresh your memory?
Yes.
May I approach, Judge?
Yes.
If you could just look at the phone numbers on it.
The first one.
And does that refresh your memory?
Yes.
And what were the last 4 digits of Jarvis Butts' phone number?
8719.
At some point after you dropped Jarvis Butts off at the courthouse and he turned himself in, did you go to his place of employment on at 9000 Connors?
No.
Okay. Did you ever talk to his business partner, Cordell Wright?
No.
Okay. I have nothing further.
Thank you.
Good morning, Ms. Davis.
Good morning.
You met Mr. Butts at Frank's Garage, is that right?
Yes.
And that's where Mr. Butts was working about 4 years ago.
Yes.
You were taking your car there?
Yes.
And I think in your words you said you kind of never left after you met him. Is that
Right.
fair to say?
Yes.
You guys got along really well?
Yes.
And you just kind of started a relationship from there?
Yes.
Would you go up to the garage after that relationship started,
Yes.
kind of just to drop in?
Yes.
At any point in time while you were at Frank's Garage, did you ever see any children there?
No.
Is it fair to say that Mr. Butts was very protective of his phone around you?
Yes.
He would never let you see his phone screen,
No.
wouldn't give you access,
No.
certainly didn't give you his passcode or anything.
Now, you guys, I damn sure had to intervene right here. You know, I've dealt with it. I've dealt with men who was so secretive over their cell phone. And I used to say, look, you know what? Date your cell phone. Don't date me. You know, I come from a generation where our phones was on the wall in the kitchen and they were either white or yellow. Okay. And then we ventured out and I actually had a clear phone when I was in the 6th grade. Okay. But you know, it's not like that. Just stop it, you know? And I'm not going to say I came out here, you know, all holier than thou, because no, you know, I used to be protective over my cell phone too. And you know why? Because I was doing ill shit. That's why. So if a dude is protective over his cell phone and you guys are really in a relationship, not just starting out, you know, you're in your first 1 or 2 months, but you are really in a relationship and you don't have his passcode and all that, then that might not be the person you need to be with. But the way I am, the stage I am in my life right now, if I have to even go through your cell phone, then we probably shouldn't even be together, you know? So he was secretive over his cell phone. We know why. Because Tuda was texting him and probably a lot of other Tudas, you know?
In fact, you've actually actively tried to get into his phone, right?
Yes.
I think you had mentioned that when he was sleeping, you tried to kind of wave it in front of him to see if
Yes.
that would unlock it.
Mm-hmm.
You took a picture of his face once and tried to
Yes.
put the screens together. So you wanted to know what was in his phone.
Yes.
And he did not want you to know what was in his phone?
No.
As far as you know? Is that a yes?
Yes.
Did you ever talk to him about why he was so secretive with his phone?
Yes.
And does it have something to do with the fact that he was seeing other ladies?
Yes.
And you suspected that at the time?
Yes.
And so that's why you were looking for proof?
Correct.
Okay. So even though you suspected that Mr. Butts was unfaithful to you, you still stayed with him.
Yes.
One reason for that is because he was good with the kids.
Yes.
He cared for your kids.
Yes.
He took them places.
Yes.
He took your son up to the shop.
Yes.
He showed him how to change the oil in the car.
Correct.
And you viewed him as a good father figure.
Yes.
You Did you ever see anything inappropriate or that would cause you to see a red flag with regard to him and your children?
No.
Did you ever see him acting inappropriately with any other children?
No.
Certainly, if you had, you would not have allowed him in your house.
Oh,
Fair to say?
absolutely not.
You knew that Mr. Butts had other children, right?
Yes.
With a woman named Angel
Yes.
and a woman named Shannon.
Yes.
He talked about his children with you.
Yes.
Did he ever talk to you about his niece?
No.
About how often would Mr. Butts stay with you on any given week?
Maybe like twice.
Were they like the same days or was it random?
Random.
Okay. About what time would he come over?
After his work hours.
And-
After like 6 o'clock.
Okay, so you think he would come kind of straight from work?
No, he would probably do something else and then be there later on in the night.
Okay, so closer to like 9, 10?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Would he stay the night with you?
To about 2 o'clock in the morning, 3, and then he would leave.
Okay. Do you know how he would get to your home?
A couple of times he was in a white truck, a white Cadillac truck. Sometime I think he would walk. If he was coming straight from the shop, he would walk. Or if he had my truck, that's how we would get back and forth.
And that's the Suburban?
Yes.
Did you know Mr. Butts to ever have his own vehicle?
Yes. He had a white Chrysler truck, van like.
Okay. And when did you know him to drive that?
Like maybe the first 2 years when we were together.
Okay. Now, when Mr. Butts would come visit you, would he park in your driveway?
Yes.
Would he spend weekends with you also?
Yes.
Ms. Davis, I just have a couple more questions for you. Ms. Quick asked you about Mr. Butts being secretive with his phone. Can you tell me about a time that you had a conversation with him about him being secretive or something like that?
He would never really say anything. He talked in circles. So if you try to ask him a question, it's just always, you can never get a straight answer out of him.
But fair enough, you had multiple conversations about his phone and your access to it, I guess, or,
Yes.
or lack thereof.
Yes.
And Ms. Quick also asked you about Mr. Butts staying over the night, or staying the night at your house. You said that he would leave around 2 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Do you know where he would go when he would leave?
No.
Did he ever tell you where he was going?
Home.
Did you know where he himself called home?
Yes.
Where was that at?
Wilshire.
And you said he would walk from his place of employment if he was coming straight from there, right?
Yes.
How far from that on Connors, the auto shop on Connors, do you live? How far of a walk?
No, that was when he was on Warren.
Warren and Neff?
Yes.
How far of a walk from that location?
Like 4 blocks.
And did you ever see him drive but not park in your driveway or out front of
Yes.
your house? Can you tell me a little bit about that?
He parked around the corner and he would walk to my house.
And do you know
When he
the,
was in the white Cadillac truck.
you said Cadillac?
Yes.
Oh. Was that an Escalade? If you know.
I don't know.
Okay. And do you know the reason why he would park around the corner?
I don't know. I asked and he would just be like, I didn't drive.
Yeah, so he hides his phone from you. He keeps it face down. He doesn't let you see his phone. And he parks around the corner 3 houses down. No. And this is a fiance. I don't think so.
But then would you see his truck?
I would see the truck.
You have one moment, George?
Yes.
One last question. You said he lived or called home on Wilshire?
Yes.
Have you ever been to that house?
Yes.
Have you ever been inside that house?
No.
Nothing further, Judge. Thank you.
not know what it's.
So, what did her testimony prove besides, he had them in rotation? That was it. I'm trying to see exactly what it proved. He was very, defensive of his phone. A lot of men and women are. Doesn't mean that they have, child P on there, but it does mean that they're doing something that they don't want you to see, like having additional, relationships on the side. That's what it proves. I guess maybe that's the point that they were trying to prove. Okay, so he was so secretive and protective over that phone. He told her he left it at her house, but yet it was really inside her car. He was getting dropped off at the police station. Pretty much, the police could have got a search warrant and eventually checked his phone. So I guess he thought his secrets would be safer at the fiance's house. Ding, ding, ding. I think that's it. So, what do you guys think this little short preliminary interview was about? Well, I'll be back really soon with another one. Thanks for watching.